You're listening to episode 7 of Lifestyle Locker Radio.
If we want the benefits of a life without complaining, we have to wake up, which means to be more mindful.
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hand, and welcome to the Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we dive into what makes an awesome lifestyle. From relationships to money mindset, nutrition to fitness, emotional health to peak performance, we bring you on an amazing journey to unleashing your human potential. Hey, Locker Nation. Today we've got Will Bowen in the house. And in 2006, Will handed out 250 purple bracelets, inviting people to use them as a tool to eradicate complaining from their lives. His idea exploded around the world, and to date, more than 11 million purple complaint-free bracelets have been sent to people in 106 countries. Among others, Bowen has been featured on Oprah, NBC's Today Show, CBS Sunday Morning, the ABC World News Tonight, and Fox News Channel. The complaint-free movement he began has been featured in thousands of newspapers and magazine articles, including People Magazine, Newsweek, The Wall Street Journal, O Magazine, Self Magazine, and Chicken Soup for the Soul. Will personally presented the 6 millionth complaint-free bracelet to Dr. Maya Angelou, who provided the foreword for his updated and expanded edition of his book, A Complaint-Free World: How to Stop Complaining and Start Enjoying the Life You Always Wanted. That book has sold more than 4 million copies worldwide in over 20 different languages. Will Bowen is a #1 international best-selling author, a multi-#1 Amazon best-selling author, an award-winning trainer, the 2016 Purdue University Executive in Residence, and he is a world authority on complaining, what causes it, why we do it, and how to get ourselves and others to stop. So it's my pleasure to welcome Will Bowen, and thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Josh. It's great to be with you in the Lifestyle Locker.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. That's an amazing intro. And I want you to just start to kind of give a little bit more about your personal story and where this came from.
I was purely fortunate. I was doing a class at, I am an ordained unity minister, which many people call positive Christianity, although I don't do church anymore. I do, much bigger things, I feel. But I was at this church, and I was doing a class on prosperity based on the book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines. And Edwin Gaines is the one who said, before you try and be more prosperous, before you try and put more into your life, you need to be grateful for what you already have, or you're in the wrong spiritual place to attract it. And Wayne Dyer put it really well. He said, if you're unhappy with what you have, why would you want more? So I got to the point where Edwin was suggesting that people go 21 consecutive days without complaining. The scientists believe it takes 21 days to form a new habit. And once I got everything ready to present, I realized, how in the world would you know what day you're on? And so I literally finished my talk, and then I went to take a shower, which is where all great ideas come from. And I had this vision of a Livestrong bracelet, and that if you were on day 1 and you complained, you would take it off your wrist and you would move it to the other wrist to let yourself know you're on day 1. And what I discovered was the day 1 is the hard part, because most people it takes 4 to 8 months, we found, for people to go 21 days in a row without complaining.
Wow.
And just had a guy the other day, in fact, do it. His name's Charlie Green. But it takes 4 to 8 months. So most people are on day 1 a lot. Day one. It can take 2 months to get off day 1. But then finally what usually happens is they get to day 2, day 3, day 4, then back to day 1. Then it gets easier and easier. And so we handed out 250 of these things. I did one Sunday morning. And before church was over, people were coming up saying they wanted them for their real estate office, their chiropractor's office, their Girl Scout troop. It has just been amazing. So then, as you said, we were on Oprah, and we estimate somewhere around 11 million bracelets around the world, because it's a moving target.
Yeah.
We still send out about 100,000 a year.
Wow, that's amazing.
With no advertising.
I know.
It all happens from people telling people telling people.
Yeah. Well, it's a good message, living complaint free. I don't know anybody that wouldn't want to do that.
Thank you.
That's really fantastic. So you have a lot to offer. We could probably be here for like 5 hours, which we're not going to be, and then some. But I want to go over a couple things with you. As we spoke in just our pre-call here, I want you to go over, I normally get a few nuggets of information from people, but I think you're going to give me a little more and a little more concise here. I want the 5 reasons that we spoke about, the 5 reasons people actually complain, and you can chunk it down for us so people can actually, if they're driving, don't write. You'll be able to listen to this again, but I want something that people can actually write down and start to follow. So
Sure.
It's on you.
Yeah. Well, and the main thing I want to get across too is that this is not about telling people to shut up and suck up what the world sends their way.
Okay.
It's not about taking their frustrations and just burying them within themselves. What most people do is when they're angry at work, they come home and complain to their spouse. Then when they get angry at their spouse, they go to their work and complain about their spouse, and they can't understand why nothing's getting better. Becoming a complaint-free person means beginning to practice healthy communication skills. It means speaking directly and only to the person you have an issue with. So, for example, if you do something to make me angry, Josh,
okay,
I should not go and tell my daughter, my wife, my children, my dog, anything else. I should say, Josh, perhaps you didn't realize, but when you did this, this was upsetting to me, etc. I should speak to you rather than going around and telling other people. A lot of people say, oh, well, you're saying be a doormat, be a victim. And no, it's exactly the opposite. Most people are doormats. Most people are victims because they're bitching to everybody except the person who can fix it. So I want to be real clear about that because there's legitimate feedback. If I have an issue with someone, to give them legitimate feedback so that I can get my needs, worth, and dignity met, there's nothing wrong with that. But I want to do that in an even way that maintains the other person's dignity. So to answer your question about the 5 reasons people complain. So setting aside getting a legitimate need met, why do people complain? Dr. Robin Kowalski at Clemson University did her doctoral thesis on this, and she discovered people complain for 5 reasons. Now, in 10 years of traveling around the world as a professional speaker, sharing this message with corporations, schools, several chiropractic conventions and colleges, I have discovered that she's right. There really are only 5 reasons, and I'm going to give you a very easy way to remember them, and it's the acronym GRIPE, G-R-I-P-E. In this country, we say gripe. In Australia, in England, and they say whinge, but we say gripe. And so the G in GRIPE stands for get attention. That is the number one people complain. Hey, notice me is what people want. Everyone wants to be noticed. We need to feel like we're part of a group, right? Mm-hmm. Does that resonate with you?
That resonates with me.
Yeah. So what people do is they're actually just looking. By the way, when I look at this and you ask my story, I did not set out to become the world authority on complaining. I just was the world's biggest complainer. And God was like, how can we fix him and help people at the same time? Yeah. So that's what happened. So my thing was to get attention. I was classic middle child, So I would complain to my parents about either one of my brothers to get attention because I simply wanted to get attention. Yeah. And people do this at work. In fact, there is a recent study that found that 78% of American workers spend nearly 5 hours every week listening to coworkers complain.
Wow.
So, and it's done really to get attention. In other words, the person's a little bored at work that, can you believe such and such and such and such, which, by the way, can you believe is almost always a setup for a complaint. It's anger speaking.
Okay, yeah.
So, to get attention. So people want to get attention. So what do you do if a person comes to you to complain to get attention? Well, what you want to do is you want to reframe what they're saying, and you want to try and put a positive spin on it. So if someone is complaining to you about their kids, you say, what do you love most about your children? What makes you happiest about your son? What are you proud of about them? What are you grateful for? Begin to ask them questions that lead them to talk positively about the kid. Now, I can tell you, when you listen to me saying this, you may nod your head and think, wow, that's really good. It's not going to work out the first time or the first several times, because they're going to go, didn't you hear what I just said? I was telling you how terrible my boss is. Don't ask me what I like about my boss. I'm telling you what I hate about him. You still just want to keep saying what's going well. What can you appreciate? What can you build on? Because one of two things will happen. Either they'll begin to tell you what's going well, or they'll stop talking to you. And either way, you don't have to be in that energy.
Yeah.
Okay?
I like that.
Make sense?
Yeah, reframing. I think that's fantastic.
So there's our nugget number one. The G in gripe is get attention. I just want to be noticed. Hey, notice me. And one of the things we can do too, as Tim Collins talks about, not Tim Collins. Anyway, I remember the book. It's about filling other people's buckets. If we are constantly smiling at people proactively and filling their buckets and complimenting them and engaging them, they will feel less of a need to come to us with problems. To get attention.
I like that.
So you tell me, Josh, what is the G? I always do this. What does the G stand for?
Getting attention, man. It's getting attention.
Yeah. So the R stands for remove responsibility. Remove responsibility. When you give someone a task or ask them to do something, they are going to, in many cases, if they don't want to do it, people are not going to say to you, hey, Josh, I really, thanks for asking me to do this, but I just don't want to do it. As Bill Murray said in Groundhog Day, I could stand here and talk to you all day, but I'm not going to.
Well, yeah.
We're not Bill Murray blunt,
Yeah.
So what do? We start complaining about the situation. Oh, man, I would really love to help you with that. But, I just don't know if my car's working well enough for me to drive over and help you move this weekend. Or, you know what? Doggone it, my kid's being a brat and he broke a window and I got to stay home and fix it. You see what I mean? It's to remove responsibility. I know you said you needed those numbers by Tuesday, but marketing didn't get me what I asked for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the truth was the person probably didn't ask marketing in time, but they want to be removed from their responsibility. So this is when you give somebody a task and they say, it wasn't my fault. I didn't get it done. I'm not going to get it done. They're telling you in advance. They're pre-excusing themselves. They're telling you they're removing themselves from responsibility. So what do we do when somebody complains to remove themselves from responsibility? They're trying to get off the hook. So we want to put them right back on the hook. And there's a beautiful question that works. It's amazing. The question is, if it were possible, how would you do it? All of a sudden, it doesn't become a real task that you've given them. It becomes a theoretical task, and you begin to ask them for theoretical solutions. And as they give you theoretical solutions, they build a web that binds them to commit to that task.
Yeah.
If it were possible, how would you do it?
I'd be here on the call with you. This is great.
Good.
This is good.
So we got the G and we got the R.
Yeah.
The get attention, the remove responsibility. This one surprised me, although I think that looking back on it, it was something that I suffered from. Again, this was one of mine. The G and the I. The I is inspire envy. You might as well put bragging in parentheses.
Okay. I'm writing. I'm taking notes here.
I can see you. Yeah, it's bragging. Here's what happens. I got a buddy. He's a very good friend of mine. And he's a young fellow like you, and he makes an incredible amount of money. I mean, just a lot of money. He earns it. He really works hard and earns it. And he got a $40,000 speedboat, which I'm sure they make them much more expensive than that. But what I noticed was that sometimes as he was talking to people, he couldn't say, I just bought a $40,000 speedboat. But he could say, when you spend $40,000 on a speedboat, you think it would come with an automatic trailer lift or When you spend $40,000 on a speedboat, you think it would come with seat covers that are better, something like that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants to brag is really what it is, but we complain about it. Oh man, can you believe it? I got this brand new Mercedes and it has a flat tire. Like a Mercedes can't have flat tires, but they want you to know it's a Mercedes.
Yes. Yeah.
See? So we do that. We use complaining as a way of bragging. It's a humble brag, as some people call it.
Yeah, I never even thought of that. As we're going through these 5, I'm like, I would never even think that. But I hear that all the time.
It's kind of amazing, is it? And that's why complaining is so insidious, Josh, because the average person complains 15 to 30 times a day and has no awareness they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's to get social needs met that they don't realize. They're trying to get attention. They're trying to remove responsibility. They're trying to inspire envy. Here's my favorite one, the P, power. Power. No one ever got elected to office by standing up in front of everybody and saying, hey, you know what? Everything's great in Washington. Send me there to make it even better. Have you ever heard a message like that?
No, nowhere in power, nowhere,
right? Because complaining builds power. It builds people. You do not start any sort of a actionable thing with people without first identifying and talking about and complaining about the problem. And in this past election, and I literally am talking about every single candidate, from Trump to Bernie to Hillary to Rubio to everybody, this election was a beautiful example of the spotlight is now on this candidate. So another candidate finds something huge they have to complain about, which got the spotlight back on them. And then another candidate complains, and it's a way of like pivoting the spotlight. Yeah. And we see it in families, too. We see families that people will complain about cousins or aunts as if there's going to be some great reckoning and the family's going to get all sorted out, So power, we see it in companies. We see people complaining in companies to get other people on their side, to move their agendas, to build alliances. And it all starts with griping about somebody, with complaining. So what do you do if you got somebody who's complaining for power? Well, really, the only power you can control is your own power. And you give it away once you side with someone. Sometimes that's perfectly appropriate. Sometimes that's the right thing to do. The thing is, you don't want to be manipulated into it. And one of the best things, and kids are so good at this, one kid will come and complain to you to try and get mom or dad on their side because there's no bigger authority or power than that. They're trying to get mom or dad. Oh, Tommy did so-and-so and so-and-so. Then they're on their side. So the best thing that a parent, that a manager, that a friend can do, which is a very difficult thing, is to basically say, I trust that the two of you are going to resolve this. Let them handle it. Refuse to get involved. There's no question in this one. Whereas with the others, there's a question. In this one, it's more of an attitude shift. It's, I see that the two of you have a lot to talk about. That's what I recommend you say. I see the two of you have a lot to talk about. Yeah, and he did such and such and such and such and such. Wow, I see the two of you have a lot to talk about. Yeah, but if he doesn't, I see that the two of you have a lot to talk about. There's an old saying, if there's two gorillas fighting in the jungle, stay out of the jungle. And so when people are fighting for power, again, it's not to say you don't give your alliances when it makes sense, but just don't allow people to manipulate you with complaining. Okay?
Yeah.
So that brings us up to the P, and now I'll roll us into the E. So let me recap. The G is get attention. The R is remove responsibility. The I is inspire envy. The P stands for power. And the E stands for excuse poor performance. Let me contextualize that and you'll understand it perfectly. Yeah. Remember we said the R is remove responsibility? When you give somebody a task and they want to remove themselves responsibility, they complain about all the circumstances around the task, you know?
Yes.
Hey, it's a Friday afternoon. I doubt I can get them on the phone at this time. I don't think this is going to happen. You know, I've talked to this client before and they didn't seem interested. They're trying to soften the blow as a way of telling you it isn't going to happen. Now, excuse poor performance is the past tense of that. They've already blown the task. They've already not done it. They've already not fulfilled what you want them to do. And so they start giving you excuses as to why it wasn't their fault. They start saying, well, again, if marketing had gotten this, and if I would have gotten this on time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they just keep coming with all these reasons why it's not their fault. Now, what do we tend to do? This is what myself and I have worked so hard on this, and most managers tend to do this, and this is the worst thing we can do, is they'll say something like, well, Josh, why didn't you think of this? Well, Josh, why didn't you handle this? Why didn't you anticipate this, Josh? Why, which is attack, attack, attack. It's over with. It's over with. It didn't get accomplished satisfactorily. So what you want to do is begin to get that person thinking about the future. I call it future tasking. I would say, well, Josh, if that were to happen next time, how would you handle it? Oh, I would do this. So then that would have gotten it to me on time. Oh, no, this happened too. Okay, well, if that happens next time, etc. And pretty soon you let them know that you're not going to, again, diminish their dignity. You are, however, going to hold them responsible.
Yeah,
so
that's
there's
great.
5.
Gripe. That's good. This is a great lesson. I mean, I don't know one person that I know personally, or probably that I don't know, that can't use this 5-letter word here. This is great. Wow. So I didn't think, we mentioned this before, but I don't think you gave us golden nuggets. Is another interview he said, these are golden bars. These are worth their weight in life, right? Wow.
Worth their weight in life. There's a good book title. You should write that down. Gold nuggets worth their weight in life.
Well, yeah.
Dr. Josh.
That sounds good to me. I will be writing that down and putting that in my archives up here to push back out. But so we've done this, Will. We've gone over pretty extensively gripe. The communication and understanding how people complain and how to see or hear, visualize people complaining, and also how to address as the outside person. But I think this is really a two-way street for every individual, isn't it? You got to look inside first and look outside.
Very much so. It's a like attracts like situation, as Richard Bach called it in Illusions. So often parents will come to me and say, can you help me get my kids to stop complaining? They complain all the time. They're so bad, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you literally are just doing nothing but complaining about your child. So the child learned it somewhere. And the other thing is we do tend to attract people who are like us. So if we are negative and complaining, and one of the things, which people are welcome to read my book, they're welcome to go to willbowenlive.com. They can watch a 90-minute speech I gave on this. But one thing we didn't really get into is the destructive nature of complaining. I mean, it has been shown to destroy relationships. It's the first thing to cause a relationship to have problem is complaining to or about each other. Hey, there you go.
There's the book.
Relationships. There you go. It's also bad for, as I mentioned, it's destructive for our work life. It costs us money. It also lowers morale. It's bad on our bodies. They've shown that people who complain a lot have higher blood pressure, lower immune systems, etc.
That I do know.
Yeah, it is personal. It's something we do for ourselves. And that's why I think that people always say to me, well, what would you recommend as far as getting people to stop complaining? And I always say, this is the only thing I know that works. And it's not like I've read every book I can get on complaining. But the thing about this is complaining is a lack of mindfulness. If we want the benefits of a life without complaining, we have to wake up, which means to be more mindful of how much we do complain, and we don't know. And to put something as a mindfulness exercise on your wrist and be willing to, every time you complain, switch it. And people tend to get embarrassed. That's why I always say there's no shame in day one. The only bracelet that doesn't work is the one that got tossed in the drawer at home.
The one you don't use.
The one you don't use. You just got to be willing to switch it every time you complain. Take it off your wrist and go, I'm on day one, which is a lot further than anybody who just doesn't use them, throws them in the drawer.
Wow. Okay, so this is good. So an action step that we're going to have everybody do is we're going to have them make sure they go to your website. Was it willbowen.com? Right?
Yep, willbowen.com.
Go there, get your bracelets, get them for your company, get them for your family. And for me, you know, as like an active, fun-loving type person, maybe make this even a game for yourselves, right? You know, don't make it like a task, like, oh, goodness, I got to do this. Oh, is it going to work? Then you're already starting into the complaining. You know, make it fun so you can actually have maybe a challenge with coworkers or a spouse or siblings or something. And, you know, I think each other, and I think I'm going to actually do this challenge again because I think it's worth, yeah, I'm in. I'm back in. But, you know, doing this with a spouse and not being afraid to show your true colors and then and use gripe. I mean, I'm gonna put this on my whiteboard after and break this thing apart and see where I am, you know. So that's what I want to do. Make sure you guys are all getting to complaint-free living. But get to Will Bowen's site, willbowen.com. I'm gonna have everything in our links for the recording for the podcast, so they're gonna be able to connect with you any and every way. I'm gonna make sure that you give me everything else that you want to share. It'll be up. All right, because cool. I appreciate you really being here. The Lifestyle Locker is an organization really appreciates you being here because the message you're sharing is a very important piece of the locker for life, right? And that's why we're called the Lifestyle Locker, right? So, Will, I'm going to finish there. This is a ton of stuff in a short period of time. I thought we were going to go for like 2 hours here, which we may have to have you back on again because I'm sure there's stuff coming down the pipe that I don't know about with you.
There is.
Right?
There is.
Good. So thank you so much for being a Lifestyle Locker. Thank you.
I have to show my T-shirt.
Yeah, let's go. So
can't complain,
baby. Love it.
We just got new hats we're going to have up that say "Can't Complain" as well.
That's so great. So thanks again, Will Bowen here with complaint-free living, and you cannot complain. So until next time, remember, it's your life. You now have the resources to unleash your human potential. There you have it, Locker Nation. Will Bowen dropping his gold bars. Make sure you listen to that again. Take some notes. And what I want you to do is take some action. Go out. Go buy some of those purple bracelets. Go to his website. Buy a bunch. Buy for your office. Buy for your family. And take the challenge. See if you can do it. And also make sure you connect with, since you're connecting with him, make sure you connect with us on Facebook.com/Lifestyle Locker. And you can always connect with me on Instagram at Dr. Josh Hand. I want to know what's going on in your life, what's going on in your lifestyle. I want to know who you know that we need to interview. It's your lifestyle. It's your life. It's your choice. We want it to be better for you. We want it to be better because you're going to make this world better. Have a fantastic week, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.